If you don't want to see me, to somebody. Bow, bow. Oh, we are live. Hello, welcome to another season of the EPN. 23-24 season is about to kick off. We're less than 24 hours. How are you all doing on this wonderful Thursday evening? I hope you're equally as excited and equally ready for the weekend. I mean, yeah, am I like super stoked to see City kick it off? No, but I will be tuned in, working away at 3 o'clock tomorrow with my head like this. Man City Burnley. Can't wait, guys. Champions League about to be underway for us. That's exciting. A new thing in our league, a new little twist. Think that's super cool. Really excited to be a part of it this year. Glad we got the payout sorted. And yeah, can't wait for it. I don't know about any side wagers or anything like that, but maybe we'll start discussing. Just really great stuff. One other thing. Oh, this trophy, right? I'm looking into these trophies. Yeah, pricey. So I was thinking, if we wanted it, we don't have to do it by any means. Be about $30 a person. And we would get a nice big trophy for the league that will have the plaques, and I'll get from Lynch's win in 2019, the past winners on there. And we'll do it similar to fantasy football for Graydon who might not know. Like, I won last year, so I'll keep the trophy all year this year, and then I'll bring it to the draft and present it to this year's winner. Unless, of course, it's me, then I'll keep it. Champions League trophy, I found like a $25 replica. It's probably like this big. I was thinking doesn't need a name on it, and that can also just get passed around year after year. Thoughts? It would be about $180, $190 total, because the custom trophy with the plaques and the size, it's obviously more expensive, and the fake Champions League trophy is not expensive, but the total is roughly $180, so roughly $30 a person. Thoughts, comments, concerns, let me know. We could just not do it, but I don't know. I'm biased because I wouldn't mind having a trophy around, but and they're all fantasy football trophies, by the way. So I found like the least looking fantasy football one, although it does say fantasy football on it. But hey, this is football, right? Beautiful game. But it's not a football trophy. Most of them are football trophies. This was just like a cup. I can send it to you guys too as well. With that being said, what is this preseason video about, guys? I don't even know. I'm not going to rank your teams. I don't because what do I know? What do I know, right? I'm not in any position to give rankings out. I won't talk about my own team because I'm pretty happy with my draft. I think I was happier last year, I will say, but I think my team is like a lot more balanced this year. I don't know if I have the star power. But we'll see. I think I have a good team, but nothing. I don't know if it's better than last year's draft. So we're just going to the teams a little bit. I'll just offer my thoughts, some things I like about your team, some things might be some of your weaknesses of your team or whatnot, and you guys can decide from there who you think has the best team or who you might think which ways I'm leaning. It's a lot of nonsense I just spewed at you, but here we go. So we'll start with Weston. He's the first one on my list. Weston has good goalkeepers. He's got Ederson and Ramsdale. He's sorted there, I would say. Arsenal obviously bringing in David Raya on loan for this season. I don't know if it's a loan to buy or what. I would imagine it might be. I can't imagine we're just taking him for a season. But with Arsenal being in the Champions League, I can't imagine David Raya is just going to be like a cup goalie. He might take a couple Premier League games away. But overall, I mean, you have Ederson as well, so you're good. Enough about the goalies. Mike's defense, Ruben and Ben White, great. Probably going to start most games for their team. Obviously, both teams have been bringing in additional defenders, so there will be some sort of squad rotation. But I'd imagine most of the time they'll be starting. Bola, I don't remember who that's going to be. I think he said Varane, but honestly, he could pick up whoever the fuck he wants at this point. Especially considering his Lisandro Martinez, that's such a pick, Mike. I don't care if he's a quality fantasy asset. That's so dumb. You don't want that guy on your roster. Kanate. See the Liverpool starting center back? Could be with Van Dijk. I don't know if Joe Gomez or Joe Matip. I don't know if Joe Matip's on the team anymore. I don't know if either of those guys are giving him a run or not, but he could be the pairing alongside Van Dijk. So Mike's got a pretty solid defense. A lot of big clubs for sure. His midfield, Odegaard's stud. Son coming off a down year. We don't know if Kane's going to be there still, even though the clubs finally came to an agreement today. We'll talk more about that with Lynch's team, but Son coming off a bad season by his standard. See if he can bounce back. Trossard and Luis Diaz, I feel very similarly about. I feel like they're explosive, exciting, fun players. I just don't they're both fighting for minutes, and from a fantasy perspective, I don't like that. You know what I mean? I don't personally like guys who are fighting for minutes, but like Trossard's already shown in the preseason, like he is a problem. Like he can score, he can disrupt, he can. You need to find him a way onto the field somehow. I haven't seen anything from Liverpool really this, so I don't know what's really where Luis Diaz is falling into that, because they definitely have multiple players for the same position. Left wing though, do they have like Gakpo? Maybe Diaz has the left a little more unlocked than I think, but I just feel like between Darwin, Diaz, Jota, Salah, McAllister, Shazably, I'm missing people. I don't know. And whatever holding mids they decide to run, if they decide to run any, maybe they don't, and all those guys fucking play, and it hits. Mike's forward. Darwin, I like. Evan Ferguson, a really good young striker. If he can get playing time at Brighton, I think he's great. And then Rasmus is not going to be healthy for a while. So they were like, he's not going to be able to play 2 games in a week for months. So like, even if he comes back, it's on a slow, limited term. So I don't know. I think Weston's got some risky midfielders along with Odegaard, his stud, and his forward. Pretty good. But overall, Weston got a great team. I don't really have much bad to say. Next team, Kevin Carroll, free thugger. Said he might change his name to Bentley something because he drafted the Wolves backup goalkeeper Bentley. I messaged Carroll yesterday, a really good team name that I think he should do. No Pope 360 or 360 No Pope. 360 No Pope, pretty good, right up Carroll's alley. For Nick Pope, who is the best fantasy keeper last year, so he's pretty sorted there. The Botman development is a massive setback, and then he went and got Robertson, which I think was a nice recovery. He gets John Stones, but also Carroll wasted a lot of early picks on defenders. So while I feel like he was able to recover his defense, and he has a very quality fantasy defense, his other positions lacked. Like Rashford, stud midfielder, but then he didn't draft Eze until like, I don't know, 8th, 9th round. His next midfielder probably for like the 7th or 8th round. Eze and Gibbs White, I like. They're like 90-minute guys, going to get a ton of time for their team. Eze is being targeted by a couple of big clubs right now, so maybe he moves before the deadline, and it might help you or it might hurt you. I don't know, because he's like pretty much the guy at Palace in that midfield. So I think he's solid fantasy, but them being as your 2-3, I think, is tough. I think they're like a 4-5, and that you're happy having a 90-minute guy. Schlazabzai, I don't know. I don't even know if that's how you say it. I don't know what his role is, how many minutes he's going to be. I would imagine he's going to be fighting for his place in some capacity, right? But he's young. He's great. Tielemans, he probably won't last on your team that long. He's just not, I don't really consider him much of a fantasy guy. Jesus hurt. 3 weeks, they're saying, optimistically. I don't know. I'm not as optimistic personally, and I don't think they should rush him back, especially now that Arsenal has a little bit of depth. Calvert-Lewin, so out on. Maybe he can recover this season with Everton or do something, but yeah. Nico Jackson could be your sneaky forward in this group, who it turns out really well for you, especially with Nkunku getting hurt. So Carroll's team, he did the best he could after that fucking debacle, but I think he's, having a weak midfield, or I wouldn't even say weak midfield, but I think in comparison to everyone else, the weakest midfield is a tough one. It's definitely a tough one. Mr. Lynch, Allison and Pickford. He's got Allison. He's pretty sorted at keeper. Pickford can fill in for a few games, and Allison's got the tough matchups. Defense, Van Dijk, great. Chilwell, I think, is a great pick. I think he's going to start most games at left back, if not all. Ben Mee, if Brentford has good matchups, it's fine. Zinchenko, interesting now with Timber. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, Timber's going to take time from Zinchenko. Timber's going to take a little bit of time from Ben White. I think Ben White's harder to displace than Zinchenko. I think Ben White's better. It's going to be a pretty crazy one to see how that falls in the minutes, work out for Arsenal, because Timber's got to find his way onto the field as well. Similar to what I was saying about Trossard. Like, he doesn't have a place per se because we have a solid starting 11, but like, you can't keep guys like that on the bench all the time. So whether it's he takes starts from Zinchenko or he starts getting subbed on and, maybe before the 60th minute, I don't know. But Zinchenko's great. Akanji, freaking stud. I don't know how he's going to be used in City, since they're in the Champions League as well, and they have multiple competitions. They have like 8 defenders, but that guy's freaking talented. De Bruyne, I mean, he's older now, and he did look a little chonk at the game the other day, but then he still fucking unbelievable. It was coming off a 23 assist season. I can't have anything negative to say about that guy. Pascal Gross can be like Mr. Consistent. I feel like just solid through and through. Kulusevski, I think, is going to improve. Almiron and Barnes, interesting that you picked two Newcastle midfielders, and honestly, I kind of feel like they're competing for the same position. But we'll see. I feel like Almiron never got incorporated back into that starting 11. He had an absolute hot streak, then he got hurt, and then the last like 8 or 9 games of the season, he was healthy, and he just didn't really like play a lot or didn't really get into it. Isak definitely took some time away from him. They were running Isak and Wilson, and now they have Sandro Tonali, Joe Linton, and Bruno Guimaraes. Are they going to run all three of those guys at once? I don't know how everyone fits in, but we'll see. Kane, Mr. Harry Kane, what's happening? It's agreed, but now I'm hearing he might not want to go. I think this could make or break Lynch's season. I think Lynch has a quality team all around. I think losing Kane would really, really hurt. Obviously, Wilson's great. I think Wilson had like 18 goals last year, and Mitrovic had like quality goals, but like, is he leaving? Although now I'm seeing Marco Silva is fully confident that Mitrovic is going to start on Saturday, but now I'm also seeing that if Harry Kane leaves, Tottenham might target Mitrovic. So you might end up with the Tottenham striker after all, Lynch, regardless of the Kane situation. Next team, Mr. Ortiz. Mr. Ortiz has Raya, the backup Arsenal goalkeeper now, and Flecken, who's down the Brentford goalkeeper. So I guess he's going to start Flecken. I don't know if he's going to keep Raya. Don't know what he's going to do there. It's a goalkeeper. Who fucking cares? Trippier, phenomenal. I thought he reached on a Stupinan. I mean, Brighton have a few good matchups early on, but overall, like, he got him in like the fifth round? No. I don't know. He was a second defender. I feel like he got him early. Maybe he didn't. Maybe I'm just being an idiot, but he's pretty good. Luke Shaw, I don't like, but whatever. He always has a decent fantasy output. Probably be the left back most games. Tete and Konsa, they're there for matchups because they're both on mid-table teams. But I think Ortiz has the best midfield. Salah, Bruno, and Martinelli are all studs. I think Maddison has the capability to be a stud. We've seen it at Leicester. If he can fit right into that Tottenham team, he can potentially run that midfield. And then Jared Bowen as your fifth midfielder, I think is pretty awesome because if West Ham can bounce back in any capacity this year, I would have to imagine that Jared Bowen will be good and involved. Like, they just signed James Ward-Prowse, so that's pretty cool. Get Bowen some service. Skabaka and Lucas Paqueta might be on the move. Lucas Paqueta to Man City, keep an eye on that. But that's going to give West Ham a lot of money. So like clearly they just brought in Ward-Prowse. I mean, they're trying to bring in Maguire. That doesn't do anything for Jared Bowen per se, but like, I don't know. They're trying to do things with this Declan Rice money and this potential money that they could also get if they sell Scamacca and Paqueta. So I think Mike said West Ham are trash. That's why Bowen was a bad pick. But like, there's no reason West Ham can't be a mid-table team and Bowen have a quality season. Your fifth midfielder, pretty good. Forwards, Gakpo and Alvarez. Playtime is my only concern there. Consistent playtime, rather. And Solanke is pretty decent. So Ortiz's team, pretty decent. I think his forwards are lacking. And his goalkeeper, he has the worst goalies in the league. Last team, Mr. Graydon. I don't really have much to say about Graydon's team. It just looks like fucking Graydon's team every year. Big six clubs. He's going to make no transfers. He's got Haaland again. So I would like to say that I am predicting that next year, or this upcoming season, we will have a repeat loser. 2 reasons. Graydon has Haaland, and Graydon has never lost before, so Graydon and I are the 2 non-losers so far. And I will never pick myself. And I think I have a quality team. And I keep up with this probably the most. Maybe Mike does. But, like, guys, half this battle is just keeping up with it throughout the season. And you won't lose. Ortiz falls off for an infamous 6 weeks every year. And it's just sends him down the tubes. But, yeah, I just think it's funny seeing everyone's, like, draft strategy. Or not draft strategy, but, like, how their team ends up. Maybe it is draft strategy, I guess. But, like, Graydon's team looks so similar to last year. Like, yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt that he has some of the same exact fucking players. Like, Haaland, I think he had Foden. He definitely had Perisic, but like it just looks the same. You know what I mean? It's big six club. He's not gonna make any transactions. Lynch, I feel like Lynch is always a forward heavy team, and once again he's got Kane, Wilson, and Mitrovic. Which, if Kane and Mitrovic had no situations, they would obviously be top forwards again this season. So Lynch always has like a forward heavy team. Ortiz has Bruno, and then he's just going to fall off at some point this season. Like that's Ortiz's season in a nutshell. Once he stops paying attention, Carroll finally went away from his strategy of when I don't know who to pick Chelsea. He only has one Chelsea player, and I would argue that it's a pretty damn good Chelsea player to have right now because he's the only striker they have. because Rom's not playing. What's up, Sam? You guys see him? And who's left? Weston. Yeah, Weston. 4 Arsenal players. That sums up Mike for you. And half this roster is going to be gone by week 4. So yeah, I love looking at that stuff. I always think it's fun. I think we're in for another great season. I'm not ranking, as I said. You guys might be able to pick. I think I had mostly positive things to say about everyone. I wanted to end on a little special for you guys. I wrote a poem. Yes, a poem. And by writing a poem, I mean I ripped it off the well-known poet Marshawn Lynch and modified it accordingly. So guys, here is "'Twas the Night Before Match Day," modified by Brian Marsh. "'Twas the night before match day, and all through the nation, not a single person could sleep as their hearts kept on racing. Rice polished his boots to give them a gleam, excited for game day with his brand new team. And the goalies were nestled, snug in their beds, while saves and clean sheets danced in their heads. And Poch in the shadows asked his crystal ball if Lukaku or Sterling should be the next to fall. While up in his room there rose such a clatter, as Mikel prepared for a defense to shatter. Away to the window Erling ran in a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up a sash. Kickoff was coming, the pregame is here. Fans and players all decked out in gear. Get the pens, get the snacks, and hope your team has the best center backs. Get to the front of the sofa, run down the hall, get ready to watch your guys ball. Get locked in, hope your team does the best. It's match day, y'all. Let's enjoy the rest. Happy match day to all, and to all, a good night."